Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams. I'm Steve David, and with me, Everett Gally Cummins. I call him Galliento. Welcome, Galliento.
Thank you very much, sir.
Maylie Atten Johnson. I call her Missy. Welcome, Missy.
Thanks.
And with us, we have Selby Brown. I call him Sweet Boots.
Sweet boots.
Welcome, Sweet Boots. And Narada Wilson. I don't have any name to call him.
Fair enough.
Welcome, Narada.
Also been here.
In this segment, we're going to talk football, football, and football. That's what we talk in this show. And today, we're going to discuss the 4 teams that represented us in the World Cup that made a statement in our football history. So, welcome, guys. And I've got the first question, Maylie. 2014, and not Maylie, but the whole panel, 2014, we had 3 games to win 1. And we would be in the Women's World Cup in Canada this year. And we failed to do so. Now we're on the outside looking in. What happened?
Well, Steve, I guess it wasn't meant to be. You know, I think we got to play Costa Rica. We went down 1-0. And normally when we go down 1-0 in a game, in the past, we would pretty much fold up, you know. Came back, equalized, played, what, 30 minutes after to go into penalties, as well as, you know, get into penalties, and penalties is definitely anyone's game, you know, and we lost that. We played Mexico. We went down 1-0 in that game. Halftime, coach told us, you know, y'all be cool. We're going to go up 2-1 in this game, and that's exactly what we did. We put ourselves in a situation to win. And, you know, after we equalized and went up, after that, you know, I think we had a little bit of premature celebration. We lost focus. And, you know, in football, one of the most dangerous times is when a goal is scored, you know, and they scored back. And after that, they took the breath out of us with that game. So, so pretty much we wasn't able to seal it in those games. And then there comes Ecuador for the 4th place playoff. And we lost. We wasn't able to score goals, and goals win matches.
And maybe off-field activities affected the team play? Or
Well, especially, for me, the Ecuador game, you know, we got the preparation for that first game. We went to Mexico, got acclimatized for that weather, you know, or altitude. Came out with a 0-0. You know, we wasn't able to score over there. But coming back home, you know, thinking that you would have gotten at least 2 or 3 games in, it wasn't possible. We had these CAC games, and they did not use that as the preparation. I'm not sure if something was communicated where they thought they would have gotten 2 games before that final game on December 2nd. We wasn't able to get anything done. All we did for 2 weeks was, you know, a lot more fitness than anything else. And I don't care how many training drills or finishing drills that you do in a session, in a practice. It's nothing compared with it doing it in game-like situations. And that ball was not going in the back of the net for whatever reason, I don't know. And, you know, they got 1 chance and scored.
from a coach's standpoint, Gally, you're a coach. What adjustments you might have made to that?
I looked at the games on television, and when you look at a game on television, you don't really see the real ins and outs of a game because of the fact that the television follows the ball.
Right.
So the off the field, the off the ball play is never really there for you to see. But I just like to ask Maylie one question, is that I noticed all the attack came from the wings, which was good.
Right.
In football today to open up sophisticated defenses and stuff like that. But for a while, I hardly saw anybody like in the center forward position. When Mullen took on people and went down the wing, it was always corner she was looking for. But I wasn't there for the last game. But was that a plan or part of the coaches?
For me, you know, I've always said that we would have qualified regardless of if we got the support or not.
Yeah.
But I always base that qualifying on having our core players healthy, fit and
Right.
healthy. And throughout that entire tournament, we never fielded our team that we, you know, would be strongly about. I mean, I give kudos to all the ones who came in place of the injured players because they held their own. But I always base qualifying on having our core players fit and healthy, and we never had that during that entire tournament. We came Tasha St. Louis for the last game. She got back. I mean, she was clicking on all cylinders in the sessions leading up to that last game to come and lose her 20-something minutes into the first game. So that was difficult. You know, she's definitely one of our natural goal scorers. Mariah Shade came on, you know, she's the approacher, she's a very good player, a striker. But definitely our wings are our strength, you know. And you know, that was the plan. But you know, it's just difficult to say. You know, it's really difficult because when you watch that game, I mean, the only thing that we didn't do was score.
Right.
You know, the only thing that we didn't do was score a goal. And
You guys
those
had
win matches.
a lot of other activities, off the field activities that affected you guys, I know. And most Trinidad teams it happens to. And Selby, you can contest to that. Norada, you can contest to that. Everybody can contest to that, right?
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most important factors is our lack of preparation. Too often the excuse is made that for reasons, financial thrown into it, we are unable to have our team be together for a length of time, bond, get the synergies in place, and clicking on all pistons so that you are ready for a final tournament and go through. And I don't think this happened. We had the disturbances with what happened with the coach, the Houston experience. But one of the things that I'm very proud of is the fact that all the players, you Meili, gave more than 100%. You could see it. But our chemistry was not there. We were 80%, 75, 80% prepared for a tournament of this vital nature. And therein lies the problem. And that problem has to do with our administrative structure. That's my view on it.
And that is consistent in all our national
all
teams,
through
right?
the week.
So something has to be done, right?
All through.
Norada, what would you do to change that or make something happen?
To speak about change, you know, is a very ample topic, you know. I believe that a lot of times the people on top don't really know what the everyday experience on the ground is like. And maybe, you know, something stupid it may sound, but maybe, you know, living or walking in somebody else's shoes could probably spark some sort of understanding in you, you know. Maybe if they go out on the pitch and see what it's like to train for a week and really don't have an objective or a game, go out there, give 100% and realize that you only failed because you probably didn't have other things in place. Go to a training session and not have water or uniforms. You know, it's simple things that start from to the bottom to the top. However, you know, my question to Meili would probably be, you know, since the qualifying campaign, you know, since everything is over, teams that have made it could talk about the celebrations. The teams that didn't make it could talk about, you know, what came after. You know, like what was the mood in the camp after? You know, seeing that you all were so close and didn't make it. And then what you think, you know, could come from this for the future with other qualifying campaigns.
I mean, for us, everyone was distraught. You know, it's like having something so close in your hands and it just slip away. You know, it was difficult to come to terms with it. But for us, you know, we, and I would say to the girls, you know, we have the Olympic qualifiers coming up, and that's on the same level as qualifying for a World Cup. You know, so we could put our energies, our passion back into football to qualify for something like that. It's going to be even much difficult to qualify for Olympics. Because when you look at it, we really in the most difficult region for women's football.
Right.
And this time is only two
to
countries qualify for the Olympics in our region. So it's going to be difficult, but it's something to, hold your head high. Now, get back the vibes, get back the energy, get back the passion, and the determination to, play football. But it's so difficult to do that when after 4 months, you haven't kicked a ball, you haven't, not a training session in progress. So it's difficult to get that vibes to, to go again.
I bet the last game was the most destructive for you guys because then there was no tomorrow.
Yes.
But the 3 games, you lost one, you say, okay, we're going to do the second one.
Right.
And then the second one come, and then, okay, and then
Yeah.
at the end of that, it's like,
most,
oh,
yeah,
I
most
can't do it.
definitely, because
It's so
there's no more game to play,
Yeah.
games to
Right,
play.
right.
So that was it. That was the game that we had to win, and we didn't. So it was definitely
So do you feel like the first of the 3 games, we didn't go with all that do or die, hey, we
No.
have to win this one?
I mean, if you watch all the games, we played with do or
Do or die
die
effort,
mentality.
yeah.
Yes.
But we just didn't score.
Right.
I mean, if you watch all the games, especially the last game, we
Scoring.
couldn't have played better.
Right.
And we just didn't score, and that was it. That was the
So
deciding factor.
game plan, I mean, something. We have to do something to get the ball in the net because that is the game.
Well, exactly. I mean, Ecuador played 3 games before they came to us. We played absolutely none.
So that's in preparation.
Even though they didn't get a lot of
Preparation.
opportunities, but opportunity is on the side of the well prepared.
Let me ask Millie, how long was the team together prior to entering the tournament? How long had the team
I
been
was on and
training
off.
together?
Let me tell you how this all started. I think after the last Gold Cup, I think in 2011, some of us were done. And then we found out that, Canada is hosting it and the chances are greater to qualify. And we all came together, decided, let's give it one last shot. And that's how it started 2 years ago, from
2 years.
2014.
So-
And, even though we went to England, we went to South Carolina, but in my opinion, those trips was a waste of money because we played teams that wasn't going to help us get better. We played teams that we give 7-0 and 4 and 5. Those are the teams
They can't help you.
especially looking to compete against the likes of US and Mexico and those countries. You can't go and waste all that money to play those type of teams.
So is there a national women's team in training continuously through the year?
Now? Or
Or even before?
it was
Not
on
now,
and
I'm
off.
sure.
It was on and off. It was
Only on and off. You
It was
called
on
on
and off.
and you called off.
It was on and off. Yeah.
How
I mean,
do
it
you
was
hope to
difficult. It
win?
was
How
difficult.
do you hope to beat the
Well, as we
world?
all conclude with all the World Cup teams, it all boils down to lack of preparation.
There you go.
Okay, guys.
Maybe I want to ask a question.
Okay, guys, we need to take a break. Viewers, you're watching Field of Dreams. We'll be right back after this short break.
Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited offers solutions to your immediate and future potential problem areas by providing you with a qualified team of safety consultants. Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited, building a reputation on quality and value since 1999. Located 23 Todd Street, San Fernando, Trinidad. Phone 868-657-1534 or 868-788-6955. Worldwide Safety at yahoo.com.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Field of Dreams. Before the break, we were discussing the 2014 Women's World Cup squad that failed to qualify for the 2015. So let's continue. Gali, you were making a point.
No, I just wanted to ask Melia if she could just name or identify who were the technical staff of that team, because what I noticed is that when I saw it on television, I see people showing up with that team while I didn't even know
Members of the
who members of
technical
the technical staff. And I think as a coach, I have to know who are the people I'm working with, because we are the first team
Right.
and the players are the second team. So I would just like to ask, so if she could list in area of responsibilities, who are the coaches of the team?
I'll try my best and give you the correct names. We had Randy Waljon, who was the
You were
coach.
right?
His son Ben Waljon was the assistant. Lincoln Phillips, who was the goalkeeper coach. We had Vanetta Flanders as the manager.
Right.
Isa Mohammed, I don't know what capacity he was there in.
What was he, the technical
I
director?
have no
the
clue. They said he
advisor?
was the technical director of women's football, so I don't know anything about that. But yeah, who else he had? The trainer. I think we had a foreign trainer at the time. Also Taylor, he was the massage therapist as well slash
Right.
physio. Yeah, I think that's.
Okay. Why don't we switch gears and go to the
2006.
2006 team that did make it to the World Cup in Germany, that represented us very well. But I have one question for this panel. We probably the only country in that World Cup failed to score a goal. Me being a goal scorer, why? Where did we go wrong? Why couldn't we score one goal in this World Cup?
Because I think we played very defensively. We played, to me, we played not to lose
Right.
instead of playing to win.
I saw the same thing.
And coaches, some coaches play not to lose because they feel that their out-of-pocket expenses might be less than they bargained for. But and this is why I remember a guy saying that he rather see women play football because women play to win and men play not to lose.
Right.
And I believe that.
Well, it was the only successful team that we had to qualify for a World Cup. I think sometimes people don't even look into what happened on the field in depthly because we saw, the euphoria behind the team is what sort of captivated people more. The fact that after all these years of trying, we actually had a team that qualified, and it is something that, is marked on the hearts of all of us. It's a time
if I
that
must interrupt you, we did qualify in 1974.
fair enough, but we didn't have the opportunity
We didn't
to
have the
live
opportunity, but we
the
did-
qualification,
we
if I
did
could put it
qualify.
that way.
Yeah, we're going to get to 1974
Right.
in a little bit.
No, I just know that.
Right. No,
Corrections
and
made.
it is what is probably, considered by a few, because
I
you could
understand-
compare
I
1 and 2, the happiest sporting moment in the country. Right now, they could be debated with cricket. There are some people that favor that. But, we had guys that at the point in time were playing at the highest level. It was actually the group of guys that we had in Europe, the highest number of guys we had playing in Europe at a good level. Worked hard for a couple of years. Whether the last minute switches that took place with coach and this, that, the other, there are some little unsettling matters still. But, going out to Germany, it was a country that, we were able to stamp our name out there. All the Europeans, they remember the Trinidadians. And it was 3 games that we actually had, 2 games that we still remember today. We did 0-0. And the fact that we held England up until almost the 80th minute before they scored. So I think
Nevada-
that's what eclipses everything else.
I have always rather been attending World Cups. From back 78, 86 and so on. Attending World Cups, going there live. Yes, being in things. The World Cup that the entire world were expecting Trinidad and Tobago to be at, all the drinks, Angostura drinks
Right.
or rum and coke and all that was already prepared, was 1990 in Italy. Yes? The difference with 2006 is that we must put things in perspective. What we participate in to qualify for a World Cup, like Meili's team did, is the CONCACAF qualifiers. In 2006, we placed 4th in the CONCACAF. There were 3.5
Half spots,
places
yeah,
allocated to CONCACAF. We played Bahrain, and then we defeated Bahrain, and that took us into the World Cup. Prior to that, our best performances were when we placed third in the CONCACAF, 1990 team, and when we placed second, we were in fact first, and FIFA, apart from punishing the Canadian referee and the Costa Rican referee and the Canadian linesman, did not remove the score. So we were disallowed, but we were in fact first in the CONCACAF. Yes? Now, if you come fourth in a competition, clearly, when you lower the bar, it's only in limbo. When you lower a bar, you're doing better. The 2006 team made it to the World Cup, and we're all happy about it. But it has not been and is not our best performance at World Cup qualifying for football.
Let me jump in here. Let me jump in here.
Yes.
Because we have nobody from the 2006 team
To defend themselves.
to
I am
defend
not
the
they
2006.
don't need to defend what
No,
are
no,
the statistics.
Not to
Those are the
defend.
facts.
Not to defend. Wait. Let me explain. Let me explain to our viewers.
Yes.
We did try to get a person from the 2006
Very
team
good. Yeah.
that we did not,
Yes.
could not get to come. So we had to go without it. But having heard what Selby said,
Yeah.
you know,
It is more punishing in track and field. If you come first, you come first. If you won, if you came second, third, or fourth, that's there. It's clear. It is in that vein that our competitions at all levels, and even with the women's team, must be judged. We are judged by CONCACAF qualifiers who plays first, who plays second, who plays third.
Yeah, but they're qualified, most importantly.
Right.
yeah, a little
Yes,
biased,
yes,
a little
yes.
biased, but it was different levels of
most,
qualification.
no,
Yes.
but most importantly, they qualified.
Right.
And the
Yeah.
question was, why didn't we score goals? So what was your point in...
The question
Yeah.
no, that was
That's
Efra's
the start.
question.
Yeah, that was start. Yeah.
That was done already.
Alright,
We didn't score goals because we played negative. We did not go to win.
Yeah.
If we had gone to win, I would have liked to see Russell Latapi on that field.
This is the reason why we didn't go there to win. This is why Latapi didn't play. Because Latapi's game is an attacking game. And most coaches know it. And because of his leadership quality, he would have taken the team with him. So to prevent that, you have to keep a player like Latapi out. Please don't know.
As a matter of fact, I opted to go to Scotland. So I was in Scotland, and all of Scotland was supporting Trinidad to defeat England. Some of them not because they liked Trinidad, but because we were playing against England. And they could not understand why we were not playing to win a game.
I think, probably, as what Mr. Cummings said, the coach also has a reputation to preserve.
Yeah.
Right? He's a coach that has high accolades.
Yeah.
His track record is pretty okay.
Very well known. Yeah.
So, going into a World Cup with a very small team, you don't want to go in and get 10 goals. You don't want to have 3 losses on their belt. I'm just saying this might be his overall thinking.
It's a good thing he didn't coach Costa Rica.
The idea was
probably the
because
CONCACAF
a lot of
teams
people
in
have
this
said
last
the
World Cup.
defensive play. So I'm guessing in his books it would be, I took a small country to the World Cup, but here lives a memory across the world because they're going to say, hey, Trinidad drew with Sweden. They held England before the 2 goals. So his record continues. Latapi, as you're saying, was a leader on the field. So had Latapi been introduced, as much as the coach would have wanted him to play his type of football, the team would have given Latapi the support to do what he wanted to do, which would have been attack. I recently watched over the game with Paraguay and Trinidad.
Correct.
And that minute Latapi came onto the field,
A big difference.
what he did, you sit down and you say,
Attacking. It
this
looked
fella
like
at this age did all what he did there. We could have probably had a better brand of football for the other 2 games. But I guess it was against, you have to take out the leader on the field in order for the leader off the field to influence what is happening on the field.
So Brian is not what the coach is looking for. The coach wants to make sure that he maintained
good
and maybe a
reputation.
1-0 loss
Yeah.
or a draw game.
No embarrassment.
No
Because
embarrassment. That's good.
if you attack, that means you expose yourself in the back. So we might have give up a lot.
And every coach have the way of entering each game, and he decided to play off the counter attack.
That was our moment on the world stage.
Yeah.
And every Trinidadian was proud. I would ask you to identify 2 plays that you remember and were appealing to you in the
It's-
2006
It's just,
World Cup.
but it's just like Jamaica in '98. What happened when they scored, right? Jamaica has the goal, right? Because when that happens, again, as you're saying, I probably can't find 2 plays. Now, I know 2 plays, but there's not 2 plays that for
stand
generations
out.
could remember. We know it because we saw it.
Yes.
But am I going to tell my son, for example,
Boy, let's
there
look
was
at
a
this
play
match.
that we ran down and we had a shot and great?
Amazing.
Because there was no end result. So I
I'm
think
still
that is
seeing
always...
Tall 12's header against
And
Bahrain
that is what we
to
keep.
qualify.
That is what is in our memory.
Yeah.
Tallest
Precisely.
goal
Yeah.
for Bahrain
Tallest.
because it was the goal and it was it. You know,
Tell me one that we remember from our 3 matches of the World Cup.
I would like,
Corner,
I
Glenn
would
shot
like,
off
I would
the
like
post.
to
Off the
Came
post.
on.
Oh yeah, that's what.
Yes.
Yeah, quite right.
Conor Glenn
no,
shot
I
off
say,
the
but
post.
that's because we saw it. But
Yeah.
would you tell your son who has never seen it, you want to give him something about 2006? This is the
Yes.
memorable, one of the most, biggest
Yes.
memories. Are you going to say that we hit the post?
Indeed.
You're probably not.
They will say we draw with Sweden, and we
Yes.
were
And
supposed to
that's it.
lose 6
We were
nothing to
supposed to
Sweden,
lose.
Yeah,
Yes.
because
and we draw with Sweden, and every, it was
That's it.
that was
But we
our
would
highlight.
say that Tallest got over the guy and put a header in and scored and put us to the World Cup.
But they will say we got 1 point in the World Cup,
True.
so we got a point,
We
but we
got a
didn't
point.
score a goal.
But
We got a
I
point.
would like to tell you the moment something that I saw as a coach that maybe knowing Latapia as I did, because Latapia New York was a continuation
Yeah.
from the 1990 team that I coached. And I remember against England, we had England made a substitution. They brought on a guy by the name of Lennon because Beckham couldn't go past Sid Gray. So they brought on Lennon with his speed
With
to
his
take
speed.
Sid Gray away from Beckham. So Beckham could put that ball across for, what's the guy, the tall guy? Crouch.
Crouch.
And had Ben Hacker introduced Latapi then England would have been more on the defensive
Because of
than
that.
on the attack. And I sat there and wondered why he didn't bring on Latapi at that time, because Lennon went up the wing, knocked the ball back to Beckham, because Beckham was slightly behind, and Beckham put it over, and that is where the first goal came.
Okay, guys, we need to take a break. Viewers, we'll be right back after this short break.
Fens, the single largest specialty retailer of residential and office furniture, consumer electronics, home appliances, and household items in Trinidad and Tobago. At Fens, we offer a large selection of high-quality products, competitive pricing, honest and reliable service. For over 50 years, we have been providing the ultimate shopping experience and after-sale care. We are passionate about serving you, and we're proud of the standard of excellence upheld by our knowledgeable staff, friendly delivery teams, and dedicated customer care associates. Visit Fens first at Marabella and now open at Chaguanas, your friendly furniture, appliance, and electronic dealer since 1960.
Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited offers solutions to your immediate and future potential problem areas by providing you with a qualified team of safety consultants. Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited, building a reputation on quality and value since 1999. Located 23 Todd Street, San Fernando, Trinidad. Phone 868-657-1534 or 868-788-6955. worldwidesafety@yahoo.com.
Welcome back. Viewers, you're watching Field of Dreams. Before the break, we were discussing the 2006 World Cup team. And Gary, you were making a point that
I
Why do you
was
continue?
just talking about different stroke for different folks. Coaches do different things, but if you're trying to play negative, it could have a negative impact on you. Sometimes people feel, as they say in Europe, well, when you park the bus, you know, you can't get a flat tire, but it's possible you could get a flat tire even with the bus. But I was just saying that I thought if that was the time that Latapichedov came onto the field, because we had England on the back foot, you see. And if he had came onto the field then, that England, what was the Ericsson? Was it England's coach at the time?
Steve.
Yeah,
Sven-
I think
Sven-
yeah.
Sven Eriksson.
Sven
Eriksson,
Eriksson.
yeah.
He wouldn't have made that change.
Right.
You see, but because we wanted to play negative, we didn't pay attention to what England was doing when they brought on Lennon, because Lennon just took Sidgray away,
Yeah.
just for Beckham to put our ball over for crowd, and that was
Get
the
the
start of
space.
things.
Good
He
point.
got the space. That was about it. And this is like coach looking at it. Ben Hacker might have been sitting down here, or Stern John, or whoever, and they might say, or Dwight York, and they might say, no, it wasn't so. You know, but this is my opinion.
Good point. Okay, you had the final say on that one. Now we're going to switch gear and we're going to go into the 1990 World Cup squad. First question to the panel and maybe to you guys. We had one foot in the door and one foot outside. And all we had us to do is to tie that game at Hazley Crawford Stadium, and we could drag the other foot in, and we were in. We still on the outside. What happened?
I want to start by saying that if you all had any kind of understanding how this team was developed and what we had to go through and what was taking place, we had people with different agendas. Now, as Meli say, if you're not to win a game, you're not going to win it, right? But the thing about it is this. Just imagine that you play your first game against the US the 13th of May, 1989. And the return game on November the 19th, 1989 was 6 months after. Have you ever seen a return game take 6 months to play?
Schedule.
So it means between that period of time, many things could have taken place. And I felt we had a penalty that wasn't given on Philbert Jones.
Philbert.
Right.
We had other things happen in the game, but it wasn't given. So, as I said, I want to say at that young, I was about 39, 40 years old. I was very naive in understanding the politics of FIFA.
Right.
I don't want to go into that part, but I just want to say that we did everything possible, and as fate had it, things were planned. Because let me tell you something. 3 Venezuelans were supposed to referee the match. They were changed 2 weeks before the game. So things were happening, and they started to call our game a high-risk game. I never saw high-risk. Trinidadians not even high-risk people. You understand? So when they say a high-risk game, I wanted to know what they were talking about. You understand? Now, a lot of people talk about the team was too far. And you know, Trinidadians, if you're living next door to the national stadium and you lose, they say you were too close. If you're living far, you're too fast. You can't please anybody. The thing is that we came out there prepared, and there were at least 20,000 people with tickets who couldn't get into the Oval, and we had to fight our way through the crowd. I mean, that's unheard of. We had one police outrider to help the team, and he was trying to get autographs for his kids, and also the defense forces who helped us through the crowd to get into the dressing room.
That was uncalled for.
Yeah.
Meli, come at you.
So what helped you or made you move on from that loss? Because for instance, for me, for the not qualifying December the 2nd, you know, in retrospect, I looked at it as, you know, if we did qualify, it would have had so many people who didn't deserve a thank you, would have benefited 10 times more than the players.
Oh, yeah.
And I could take satisfaction in knowing that the pockets is not 10 times
Fatter.
fatter, you know?
Mary, to be quite honest, this is a very, very, very important question you asked. It took me at least 6 months before I looked at that tape and that goal. Because there was a lot of talk about people selling the game out and Michael Maurice with the sun in his eyes and all this sort of thing, right? And to be quite honest with you, I don't think I will ever get over that game, but I moved on. But what brought some solace to me is the fact that I understand the actors in the play now. It's never too late, but I understand that that game was never for us to win. I remember going to the States because the Hawks Sports Club invited me to, a night out, and I went there for the Old Year's Night celebration. And I was sitting on the same table with this guy. I think he was somebody for the Brooklyn area, one of the representatives. And I was there all talking about if this would happen, if that would happen. And he said to me, if nothing, that game wasn't for you guys to win. Because everything happened. When we went to the States, we were called little gnats from the Caribbean. When we were training, they turned on the sprinklers on us, all this sort of thing. These people came to the VIP lounge. So people outside couldn't even say anything for us to get a psychological advantage. So the deck was stacked against us because I remember going back to Brazil in 1990 to do an attachment in the Brazil Football Academy. And they brought this guy there personally to talk with me. He's an expert in fixtures. He can tell you this fixture is a losing one or winning one.
And you had a losing fixture?
I had a losing fixture. The guy told me that. He said, this is a losing fixture. He drew my attention to the fact that how could you play a return game in 6 months? And he also said that the other teams had, while America was playing us in their second game, that was madness because it wasn't even Steven. We played Costa Rica in their third game, which was our second game. So while these teams were machine were oil moving off, we were still, in the garage.
What I heard was we spent the entire week in Deep South training in the mud and so on, and then we go up that same day. We travel to the game, and then the field at Hazley Crawford Stadium dry and hard. So why didn't we turn on the sprinklers the night before?
Okay, very good
And
question.
America do not like to play on the wet. I know that for a fact.
Yes.
Okay, we were in Port of Spain, myself and Oliver Camps, who was the manager. We were in Port of Spain, and we found the lights on in the stadium. Rain fell, America practiced, and the lights were on.
Drying up the ground.
Drying up the ground. So we spoke to this gentleman, Frank Stevens, who was the in charge of the facilities at the stadium, and we told him, if it doesn't rain, wet the field for us, please.
Exactly.
So the day of the game, the place was dry, so we called him and asked him to put on the sprinklers, and he said, you know what he said to us? The technical staff of our national team looking to qualify for the World Cup, he and Doctor no field. So to me, the deck was stacked against us all the while. Every time. Let me go back to something. When I took that team, and this is something I want the public to know. When I took the national team, I was working at the Ministry of Sport. I have never signed a contract with the TNTFF. I was technical assistant to the Football Association.
Right.
So I was being paid my salary from the Ministry of Sport, and I was relieved of my duties there, and went over to the national team full time.
Right.
But I wasn't on no big time contract like the Bean Hackers and all these guys, But I guess when something comes from the heart, it's always better. So I personally had to motivate the team after games, thank the public for coming out. When I got the national team, they were playing an offside formation with nobody pressuring the opponent on the ball, and we were getting a lot of goals. So I had to change structure, right? Do player assessment and evaluation and place people in different positions and different things like that. So it wasn't like I got a team that was ready to go. I had to change the entire structure of the team.
No, well, just to touch on a few things that you spoke about. You said, like sometimes you could never please the public. You all got the opportunity to be in a camp far off, and be isolated a bit. But then we have Meili and they who were on an unsuccessful campaign as well, who was at the Hyatt. And there were people that,
Hyatt,
I'm just saying, now you're telling me people were against the fact that you all were far, but they were at the a 5-star and, you
And they
know,
wanted
having
us to
all
go
the thing,
far,
and they were
right?
actually saying that
We
that
should go
probably
far,
got
yeah.
to their head.
But
And
this
that had
is,
nothing
you
to
know,
do with
this
it.
had nothing to do with it.
Just as I said with the 2016, let me make the point again with the 1990 team. In 1990, 2 teams represented the CONCACAF at the World Cup. The first 2 teams. We placed 3rd. The teams that went were America
Who has
and Costa Rica.
yeah.
That was Costa Rica's first time at
yeah.
the World Cup. Now, we placed 3rd. I go back to 2006 having placed 4th. The 1974 team, for the qualifiers then, only 1 team represented the CONCACAF at the World Cup. And on that occasion,
You can see.
Haiti went through, despite the fact that we scored 5 goals that were ruled all offside. And the FIFA allowed the result to stand. So we were effectively 2nd, even though we were robbed.
And the one other thing I want to touch on is that 1989-90 squad. If it had, how many players were playing locally at that point in time
Everybody.
versus how many were playing abroad?
No, everybody. It was,
So
it
then,
was a local
what
team.
it shows is that what happened between, what was the difference? In 2006, we had most of our players playing
foreign
abroad,
base, yeah.
right, on good contracts.
Yeah.
1990, it shows that 10 years before, 20 years before, we actually had something
Oh,
good
and,
Yeah.
We
in
had
our country.
Narada so good.
Was it
We had a
And
good
I
thing
come
going.
back to preparation. What you had under Everett was a team in training continuously being prepared for a tournament. And I want to give Everett kudos for that. Because what he rekindled was the football of the 60s, which was brought into the 90s and had all Trinidad on their toes, out and following the football. It was the product football that brought the fans
Not every.
and not a call for support. And if we go back to that, it is our duty and business, and I am telling all those who profess to be administrators that their business in football is to prepare that product. And once you have a good product, everybody will come to support you.
At this point, okay, guys, we're gonna take a break. Viewers, you're watching Field of Dreams on Axe Television Network. We'll be right back after this show.
Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited offers solutions to your immediate and future potential problem areas by providing you with a qualified team of safety consultants. Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited, building a reputation on quality and value since 1999. Located 23 Todd Street, San Fernando, Trinidad. Phone 868-657-1534 or 868-788-6955. worldwidesafety@yahoo.com.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching Field of Dreams on Axe Television Network. Before the break, we were discussing the 1990 World Cup squad. Now we're going to switch gear and move into the 1974 team. And I don't have any questions for this one.
I have a question.
What would you like to know, Gary?
I just want to find out, before we joined the team, who were the teams you guys played to qualify for the second round?
Oh, we played Barbados. I think it was, if my memory serves
What
me
was the
right.
score?
That was like a 2-1 game.
All right.
We played Antigua. We beat them 11-1 or 11 nothing. And then I think we played Suriname as well. And we beat them 2-1 or 2 nothing, something like that.
So I would ask, what was your preparation like back then?
Whoa. You had to love football. We had to play from the heart because we were training in Caroni
Yes.
in the mud.
Yeah.
We had to, in our own gear,
How
we
many
would have
days a
to
week?
lay in the mud
Get a
and do
shower on
our
that
push-ups and
standpipe.
sit-ups and all the different things.
The showering under the standpipe.
Shower under the standpipe. I
Staying
remember
down in the defense force and getting bite with mosquito.
burning the ceiling from the
Yeah, we had to take
thing
down
for
some of
mosquitoes,
the Skyrotex on the ceiling and burn it so to
yeah,
get rid of some of the
it
mosquitoes.
was horrible. It was horrible, but again, for the love of the sport,
And we used to train
for
twice a day.
representing our country,
There you
I think
go.
that was the goal. We wanted to represent our country.
Yeah. I think
And-
that was the
and-
motivation in those days. But let me ask you a question, because when we came to the team, when we came to the team, which was Selvis and
Archie and
Archie
stuff.
and myself. The local national team didn't just lie down and give us a pick. We had to play for our position. And I was saying to myself, I was already a national player before I left for play professional football. When I came back here, my pick wasn't really waiting. I remember going to play a practice game against SFA because, we didn't have no big team to warm up against in those days. They pick a South team or a North team or a Central
East.
team or East team. And we were going down to play against SFA. I was riding in the same car with the coach, Kevin Verity. So I was just saying, boy, I hate to play in Skinner's Park when it's wet. And he said to me, if you make the team. And I say, well, boy, I didn't understand that kind of talk at all because I was already a national player before I left to go and play professionally. But what had happened, and I must say this, is that when he came here, he didn't know anybody, and he was listening to a lot of rubbish that people had to say about different players. And he was staying by a certain gentleman whose name I don't want to call on TV. And this is one of the reasons why Gerard Figueroa and all these different players. But the amazing thing, when we came back from Haiti, he was the first one to shake my hand.
The
The
person
same
who talked
guy who
about
was
it.
trying to say what we were wasted.
Okay, so we hearing all what happened within. So why it is you all or wasn't able to qualify or didn't qualify?
We were robbed.
You were robbed. Outright
we
robbed.
were robbed. We were robbed of
That
qualification.
Trinidad,
Yeah.
Tobago, and Tobago
That
team,
only team.
scored more than 15 goals in the tournament, defeated the likes of Mexico,
Guatemala
Guatemala, Haiti, even though the game was given to them,
and the Netherlands.
Netherlands.
and the Netherlands. And now, and what you saw was a product. Today, I'm talking now to 2015, and I am in Brooklyn, and I meet a Haitian and I say, I'm from Trinidad. The first thing he said, Trinidad and Tobago, Warren Archibald.
That's the man.
I'm
Archibald.
talking today,
Yeah.
from 1974. And I'm saying to you, it was the product of our football that stood out. Now we've gone full reverse in Trinidad. Whereas, and I mentioned on the last program, that 1953, we were exporting footballers to England. You had another batch we exported to Venezuela, Alan Joseph and Watty Douglas. We, in 74, our football was #1 in the CONCACAF. Today, our football is where it is, double digit, and our administrators, or administrator, well, former, is larger than our football is. And it is only the product that can attract and bring crowds. I do not want to see football today about what entertainment is going to be at a game, and it's all-inclusive and the likes and the nonsense. When you come to see football, that's what you come to see, and you'll be prepared to pay to come to see it if the product is well prepared, well packaged, and I will want to tell you, as these two gentlemen, my dear friends, Steve David, our host, and Everett Cummings did in that 74. Everett, most valuable player. Steve David scored all the goals, 1 million of them.
Leading goal
We're
scorer.
worried too.
And
Leading goal scorer.
No.
walk into a professional contract.
Were
And
we,
that's the level at which we must talk.
Gary,
Yeah.
were we robbed or were we bought? Because from hindsight now, I was naive at that time, but now I think we were bought. Because I end up with $500 and a gold watch, 14-karat gold,
A Rolex.
from the President Duvalier of Haiti.
Yes.
But that came after the game.
After the game. Yeah.
Yeah. So we
They
don't.
bribe you before the game.
So we don't protest the game
We
because
did
remember,
protest. We did protest the game.
protest.
Everybody
we
else.
wanted to. when Archie got together, he got together with me and he said, "Gali,
It was too
the
late.
administration don't want to do." No, all the other countries wanted us to protest. Mexico came over to the hotel. Honduras came over to Guatemala. All and said, "You guys got to protest," but the administration did nothing.
So if every team protests and we didn't,
They were going to support us in the
something
protest.
is funny there.
Steve,
But there's one minute,
go
Sylvia.
ahead.
Listen to this. I don't want to go back, but I have to go back because beyond on this protesting. In 1989, when we played Costa Rica in Costa Rica, right? We scored a very good goal to equalize.
Yes.
That 1 point we needed.
Yes.
We got it. And I went to Camps and Warner, and I said to them, listen, Hudson Charles scored a good goal. We have to protest. And they said, and I was told by these people, going through that foolishness now. This is how this is how administration see players. They're not going through that, and that I slowed it. And that same point, we would have qualified since Costa Rica. And if you have the film, you could go over it again and watch the goal that Hudson Charles scored.
Okay.
you see,
To tie the game up.
I don't want to go back to 90 as we are talking
That's the
74.
point.
Right.
But the point is, when that goal was scored, I now have the evidence documented from the then CONCACAF secretary, who was Costa Rican, of the charges being brought against the Trinidad and Tobago Football Federation, that by, thank God you all did as you did in November, that by November, Trinidad was being thrown out of CONCACAF, and Warner and the then president, Peter O'Connor, were being banned from FIFA. And CONCACAF did not want Warner to be CONCACAF's representative of FIFA. In walked President Havelange and took care of business and the like. So I tell you, Steve, that to say, not only is Gary right, why we did not protest, but also the fact that in 1974, while FIFA punished the officials, if it is unacceptable, how could you allow the results to stand?
Because we did not protest
Did
the
not
game.
protest the game.
And the people who protested it
See?
got the referees and
So
the
again,
linesmen banned.
yes,
That's the only thing.
yes.
So again,
Yes.
were we bought?
Yeah, maybe like you wanted to.
Who knows? Mary,
We were.
No,
Right?
I
Narada?
guess I
What's
can't
the
say.
question?
And everything. Anyhow,
Now, before you say, I might want to ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Right. Have you come to terms with that loss in Haiti?
oh, I came to terms with that right after the game. After I finished crying, of course.
yes, you cried like a baby.
Because I turned pro right after that.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So I figure, hey, I would have loved to go to the World Cup, but at that point I said, look, I'm turning pro. I went and I turned pro, and it's forgotten. And Archie said to me, as soon as the whistle blow, there's nothing you can do about the result. So forget it.
Yes.
You know, you think about the next game. And I was well schooled by Archie.
Yes.
Well schooled.
Worry boy.
After the game is over, he said, the only time you get mad is when you don't get your check. Right? So I said, okay, all right, buddy. So I looked forward to the next game.
Next game.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to, at this point, we got to thank a few people who had went to our email bag, not the email, send us an email to say make some positive comments on the show. Colin Massel, also Michael King from Ontario, Canada, Dexter Johnson, and Brian Bernard. We thank you guys for putting something in the email basket. And we encourage all the viewers to do the same. Yes, Alvi,
Yep.
you were saying?
Out of our discussion today, I would say with the successes of those teams, 74, 90, 2006, and the women's team, 2014, the emphasis must be placed on preparation of a product, the product being football, and as a priority to have our administration change and headed in the right direction where they fully understand that the focus must be on football. And I would like to say one last thing, where Narada asks how many local players were in the 1990 team and the 1974 team. They were all local players, bar 3 pros coming home. And I want to link that to the mass production, although it's your area of expertise, the mass production for placing players abroad and selling players, which could be the reason, in my humble view, why Brazil, for the first time, could receive 7 goals in a World Cup final at their home, not playing what is their football with their home players. and
Okay,
home teams.
Selby, you had the last word, guys.
As usual.
That's it.
We have come to the end of another edition of Field of Dreams. I want to thank my hosts, co-hosts Gary and Melly, and my guests, Selby and Narada. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you so much.
Yes.
I want to thank the viewers. You know, keep watching.
Email.
Thank you for letting us into your homes and bringing this show. We hope you enjoy. Thanks to Axe Television Network for giving us the opportunity to bring the show to our viewers. And don't forget, viewers, you can email us on fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com. And also you can visit us on our Facebook page. My name is Steve David, and see you next time. Good night.